money that I collected. It's honorable that brought
contribution to Nigerian peace.
Me, I want all of now look at this.
But there comes a time when you want to take steps every day to make this country a better place.
And the new Nigeria is
indications telling them it's time to change.
It's a beautiful and lovely Tuesday evening, and you're right here tuned to the Never Dull Moment program, Ground Zero, the program where we pick up topical issues in the polity, and of course, with guests in house, and of course, those online, and of course, you, the listener. We try our very best to all be on the same page as we get to understand what is happening in our nation, Nigeria, and of course, how we can put everybody ahead when it comes to information about Nigeria. My name is Ehis Agbon, and the program comes up every working day of the week on Procyon Radio and Television, but of course on Tuesdays and Fridays from 5 to 6, we simulcast and uplink with Invicta FM. Invicta is on 98.9 on the FM band, and together we do this. And on the program today, we will be looking at the resurgence of insecurity, what President Bola Tinubu should do. Also, we have anti-corruption fight. We'll be x-raying corruption in the National Social Investment Program in Nigeria. These are the two major things we'll be looking at. And of course, my guest today on the program, we're expecting Danjuma Abbas Dangwa. He's a good governance advocate. He will join us any minute from now on the program. Mike Odeh Akatu is a journalist and a media analyst, is already with us here in the studio. And of course, we'll also be linking up with Dr. Peter Edeh. He's a lecturer at the Department of Philosophy, University of Abuja. And for those that want to be part of the program, those listening to us on Invicta FM and on Procyon Radio, you can also watch us on Facebook and on YouTube. On YouTube, the handle is at ProcyonRTV. At ProcyonRTV is the handle on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, and of course, Thread. All right? And like always, we'll open up our phone lines at the right time. But meanwhile, you can drop your voice notes on 0809-799-1989. That's the portal where you can also drop your voice notes and messages, and we will definitely read them all out here on the program. Okay. Now, looking at in recent times, there has been a resurgence in insecurity in Nigeria, if we follow what's happening on ground, and of course, what we hear from the various news portals and channels. Apart from the fact that the Christmas Eve attacks in Borno, in Plateau State, Bokos specifically, has been something that's been on the international news scene, and people waking up to the realities that this is a recurring decimal when it comes to the Plateau. And sadly too, it seems to always recur around, it seems to always happen around the Yuletide.
Yeah.
And it has been a cause of concern. While some would tag or label it herders, farmers crisis, but we are the heads. When it happened, we can't put our fingers to any. Some will call it a tribal crisis, and some would also want to give it a religious undertone. But one thing we cannot take away from all of it is that there is a crisis happening, and the conflict is leading to loss of lives and property. And that cannot continue, because that is not the Nigeria of our dream looks like. We want a Nigeria where everybody can live in peace and unity, and everybody can go about their legitimate businesses, and a Nigeria where everybody can sleep with their two eyes closed, knowing that they'll wake up the next day hale, happy, and face the day's business. Apart from that, less than 48 hours ago, there was also another reoccurrence along the Abuja-Kaduna Expressway, where we have a number of persons kidnapped by these persons that for a long time now we've not heard of any sort of kidnap along the Kaduna-Abuja Expressway. But with this that's resurging now, it is becoming a cause of concern. Is it that we are going back to the days when it is indeed a real burden and a problem for people to travel from Abuja to Kaduna. We pray we don't go back to those days. But what just happened now, something needs to be done. And that's the reason why our first snippet today is, what should the president do so that we don't go back to the days when those roads were not safe? And for those that even want to fly between the airport and get into Kaduna Metropolis was also something that people were not very comfortable getting into and doing. And of course, from the different houses and different portals, we had all of these issues. What should the president do is the first snippet. And the second snippet, of course, like you had earlier, is the corruption that is rearing its head in the National Social Investment Programs. Giving you a little background on this, the National Social Investment Program, in whatever tone or name one chooses to call it, one can say it dates back to the early years of the Buhari administration, when we had the trader money, when we had the what was the other money? They had several tags attached to it. Yes.
Market,
trader money, market money, and all of that, which also was immersed in so much of corruption because people could not get credible data as to who got what, when, where, and how much got to who. That was a big issue then. It got to the point that the vice president, who was spearheading and in charge of it, at some point it was even used as a tool to shut him down, to even shut him up when he could not give proper account of how the monies were disbursed. So his political detractors used that as a tool to control him, I would say. After the trader money and market money jamboree, we now moved into the COVID-19 jamboree. Under the COVID-19 jamboree, the popular name palliatives reared its head, and on the lips of every Nigerian we had palliatives that were coming in different forms, shapes, and shades. That also was immersed in a whole lot of corruption, even up to the point that the NSAS protest also dovetailed into it, that resulted in the breaking into of different warehouses where these palliatives were kept
over a year.
Yes, for over a year. And as we are getting over that, we have now moved into the fuel subsidy removal. Is it palliative they are using now? What's the latest name they even use?
It's still cash transfer.
Yes, they are all cash transfer, but there's a generic name they are using.
I've forgotten the name. It just came up about.
But all said and done, the government making provision to cushion the impact of people slipping into poverty or falling below the poverty baseline. These are provisions made by the government, meant for the masses, unfortunately not for everybody. That's one area where many people are getting it wrong. Palliative is meant for the poorest of the poor. For someone that's comfortable, do you really need it? Of course, some people would say everybody needs it. But of course, everybody, we are not the communist setup where the government will provide bread and tea for everybody. Well, the main thing there is that those that have been entrusted with managing these various social investment programs of the government have been immersed in various forms of corruptions, right from Sadia Omar Farouk, the past Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, even up to just last week we were talking about the National Social Investment Program Agency head in the person of Halima Shehu, and just yesterday that of the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs also came to the fore, where the president had to suspend her so that proper investigation is carried out. Of course, various kind of flicks and side talk came out from different places where there were even rumors that she wasn't willing and ready to step down because initially she was asked to resign. She said, well, other persons are after her. All of these are conspiracy theories, of course, that other persons are after her, persons that even had cases in the United States of America that were given soft landing. People were assuming or insinuating that she was talking about the chief of staff and all of that. But of course, whatever it was is what it is. And today we are here and now. And now she has been asked to go on suspension so that proper investigations can be carried out. And that is where we are now. And thankfully, Danjuma Abbas Dangwa is just coming in. I want to sincerely appreciate him because the time that I called him, it was at the other end of town. Danjuma, just take your seat. No protocol about it. Danjuma, welcome to Ground Zero, and thank you so very much for coming in and also adding your voice to the conversation. Unfortunately, I still haven't been able to get across to Dr. Peter Edeh in Abuja. He is from the lecturer of he's a lecturer at the Department of Philosophy. Well, the show will go on as soon as we can link up with him. Of course, we will link up with him. Now, I'll start off with
security
issues, and we'll kick off with Mike Odeh Akatu. The resurgence of insecurity. What should Tinubu do?
Well, a lot has been said about what Tinubu should do, and probably he's doing, and we are not seeing it. That means he needs to rejig. But first of all, I know that the total armed forces, minus the police, the total strength of the Nigerian armed forces is not up to 600,000. And we have about 230 million Nigerians. And then again, out of 230 million Nigerians, for every 100 Nigerians, 30 are heavily armed. You understand what I'm saying? So there is a lot of small light. There is a lot of light and small weapons around.
Yeah.
And of course, again, the border, 7 to 8 states in Nigeria is loosely patrolled, very, very porous, that allows what we call the nomadic herdsmen to stroll into our country. Now, a lot of people get angry when you say herdsmen. We are journalists and we are analysts. We don't intend to stereotype, and that's why we say nomads. These nomads are actually, when you say nomadic headers, they are Fulanis, but they don't owe allegiance to any country. They don't owe allegiance. They don't owe allegiance to Nigeria. Even if they see if you're a Fulani man in Nigeria and you stand their way, they'll get you down. Are you getting it? And they have been roaming like that for a long time. So these nomads have a free reign into our country, and that exacerbated under the Buhari administration. Remember, there was a time Buhari went to North Africa and told the Lord, I said, look, they can come to Nigeria without visa. We are in this world again. You are coming to a country without visa. You have gotten problems. And they came in drove. Are you getting it? And don't forget again, we are lying astride the Sahelian belt. And this Sahelian belt moves from Mauritania down to Central Africa, down to Sudan, the Darfur area and others. Now, these are where the merchant of death ply their weapons, ply their trade. Now, Chad has been able to, Chad too lies along that region. But Chad under
Paul Biya.
Not Paul Biya, the other man that died, Hissène Habré.
Yes, Hissène Habré.
It cost Hissène Habré's life. But the fact was, Chad was able to put down that insurgency. And at a point, Chad became one of the Chadians became one of the most experienced country in fighting terrorism. They were in Nigeria to help us during Jonathan's time. They went to Mali, they went to Niger, they were everywhere. Are you getting it? Why? Because first of all, the Chadian strongman leveraged on the expertise of the French and the Americans. Are you getting it? He brought in the French, he brought in the Americans. Then, Chad is also a base where the Americans have their drones.
Okay.
You get it. The French also have a lot of air bases there. Now, You know, so what I'm trying to say is this. The fact is, like, Nigeria is heavily invaded, under invasion. Whether you want it or not, we are being invaded by foreign forces, the Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb, the Islamic State for West African province. They have been displaced from Iraq, they have been displaced from North Africa, they are trooping into Nigeria, and our defense mechanism is weak. We have a lot of saboteurs who say, oh, this could be our brothers, this could be our men, they are coming. These people, they don't have brothers actually. So if you think you are welcoming them, you are the wrong thing. So now what should Nigeria do? Number one, the federal government should go into partnership, should go into collaboration with defense, not treaty, but cooperation with countries like the US. The US have one of the longest history in counter-insurgencies, right from Vietnam, right from down to Afghanistan. It's still fighting. It decimated ISIL in Iraq, in Syria. You understand? And it has been, for, even in Somalia, it has been helping to come. So we need to get the Americans on board. We need to even get, good luck in those days. Before 2014, Boko Haram was controlling a lot of the territories around Borno and Yobe. Yeah. What did Goodluck do? He silently went and brought in some mercenaries from South Africa. Yeah. Bought in the M15 helicopters and this and that. And they even made arrangement with the Israeli government to deliver Apache helicopters to Nigeria before some elements in Nigeria under some government in the past for political reasons went and truncated it. The helicopters were already set and everything. Netanyahu was set to deliver this helicopter. They went and then they reported that it was going to be used for genocide. And the former government of the president stopped, the former president of the United States stopped Netanyahu from bringing in it. But then, when Goodluck saw that he needed help, he brought in the South African mercenaries and they decimated Boko Haram to a point that no word was in their hands. Yeah, you understand. And he also brought in the Chadians. It was only the Cameroonians that were they were a little bit skeptical. He brought in the Chad, that is the multinational joint task force, the Nigerians and the rest. Yeah. That's number one. Number two, we need to massively engage in recruitment. Yeah. We only have one depot. Now there is an analysis that Colonel Stan Lambu, who has seen duties in Liberia, in Somalia, in Yugoslavia, and in the rest of this place, he said, we only have one depot in Nigeria. And out of that, that one depot can only take in 5,000 to 6,000 recruits. Now, and if you consider what is happening, these recruits, as you are recruiting, some of our officers are also being taken off, either by wound, injury, death, or resignation. Okay. Yes, and they could pale into, the numbers could be like 3,000-4,000. So what the recruitment you are taking already, the ones that are on their way out has decimated it. Yeah. So in the end, if you take about 5,000 to 6,000 recruits today into the Nigerian army, the ones that have already been on their way out has already diminished their number. So we need massive recruitment. You don't need to only center one recruitment. The point at Kaduna. There should be one in Otukpo. There should be one in Lagos. There should be one in Enugu or Port Harcourt. There should be one even in Niger. And then you screen Nigerians, bring them in, train them. Like I recall under Goodluck again, and even Obasanjo, there was this CID. The Americans were coming to train Nigerians in counter-terrorism. Yeah. You see, so we need to have a specialized force. Then we need to massively buy arms, especially drones. I wonder what, when the chief of the commander of the 3rd Division, Joss, said that they were overwhelmed. He said before we had 37 distress calls. We are here, we are there. They will say come here, and we're overwhelmed. With drones, you will not be overwhelmed. Yeah. With drones, you will not be overwhelmed. Now, and then we begin to ask. My editor begin to ask me, say, Mike, where are the Super Tucanus?
That is a big question.
He said, where are the Super Tucanus? He said, Mike, you are in Kaduna. I said, yes. But you always tell me that helicopters and jets are always hovering around you over there in Kaduna. Why are they not hovering in Jos? And where are drones? And he started giving me statistics. He said, look, Nigeria imported dollars worth of arms. In short, Nigeria is one of the highest importer of weapons in Africa.
All right. Just hold it 1 minute. I think we have Dr. Peter Edeh with us now. We having difficulties connecting with him. Finally, we have connected with him now. Doctor, can you hear us? Dr. Peter Edeh, can you hear us? We cannot get your audio.
We see you.
We can see you, but we are not getting your audio. Dr. Peter Edeh is a lecturer in the Department of Philosophy, University of Abuja. Doctor, can you hear us? Okay, I'm sure we'll try to connect back to him any minute from now. So, round up to that.
We need to massively import arms, drones, other kind of technology, and then we need to make proper use of it. Again, there is the need to punish people that, especially sponsors of terror. The government knows who the sponsors of terrorists are. If they don't want, go to Dubai, go to the Americans. They will tell you, so person did this, and people are even talking. These terrorists, you can catch them. When you arrest them, talk to them. And again, there is this fear about the masses. The masses are always saying that once a terror kingpin is arrested by the army, when you take them to Abuja, somehow a pressure is put on them and they are set free. And that is why the army is not performing well. That is what David Otto, a London-based defense analyst, told me, and he has worked with the Nigerian army. So the government needs to clamp down very hard on sponsors inside the government and outside the government of terror. You understand?
All right.
That would be my
Let's come to Danjuma Abbas Dangwa now. The resurgence of insecurity in Nigeria. What should President Bola Tinubu do to reverse this trend?
Right from the days of military junta, where they might have seen a crisis, emanated, politics has been at the fore in terms of conflicts that we've seen in northern Nigeria, as well as other parts of this nation. So with the evolving theories about terrorism and all, it becomes imperative to consider the fact that terrorism does not seem to stand on one foot alone. We've seen that situation with the kind of effective practices that these people are able to deploy. They are standing on just more than just the militia group.
Yeah.
There is the military wing of these terrorists. There is also what is called also the political wing of these terrorist groups. There is also the economic wing of these terrorist groups. So they are linked to some of the very important primary parts of the industry in the space of Nigerian space. We're talking about solid minerals the other time. Who are the title bearers? Why are we not having mining activities happening in safe spaces? Why is it a space that is so riddled with so much violence before exploration? And even when exploration is happening, materials are carted away at all. So Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done what he should as the president in rejigging the armed forces. Is it a competent, capable institution or set of organizations? I would say yes, it is. Can it deliver the results? Certainly. But what is actually missing in what is happening currently is the fact that the political wing of these groups still remain strong and are able to operate within the system, leverage or accessing intel. We've had presidents who have told us severally how influential these people are, even in government. We have a situation where You get to hear when successful attacks should happen, for instance, on terrorist groups. You hear the outcry, and later on, the verification points to the fact that, oh, these are actually really terrorist cells that were struck by forces.
Sleeper cells.
You know, so when these things do turn true, we don't still come back to give a pat on the back to our security forces. We tend to ignore the successes that they record in some of these things that they do. What is most critical to really hit the snake on the head, in this case for President Bola Tinubu, is nothing more than going after the political wing that drives around this conflict, because the entrepreneurs are actually doing it from the political angle, the economic angle, and that is where the government is not hitting them yet. We are just hitting a ragtag army that is in forest, while the people who are actually making the calls, calling the shots, and dropping the names are actually in their own cozy spaces, wherever they are in the world, you know, having a field day while Nigeria continues to groan under this pain.
Dr. Peter Edeh, let's see if we can have you now. Can you unmute your microphone so that let's see if we can hear you now? Doctor, talk to us now. Your microphone is still muted. It's showing on the screen here that your microphone is muted. All right, say something now. Doctor, can you say something? Oh dear, we are having difficulty getting audio from your end. We are having difficulties getting audio from your end. So let's come back. Since you said in the military arena, President Tinubu seems to be moving in the right direction, but the political wing now is where there might be some need to re-strategize so that those calling the shots can be reined in, and that way their own military wing also will become powerless. Do you want to agree with that?
Well, you see, like when I spoke to even some military officers, Mordecai, Colonel Lambo, and the other general, he told me that there is a lack of will, political will. That's what they call the political strategic level. From that is the people that will design the strategy. Kill these people, take these people out. Are you getting it? That is not just enough for the president to give the orders and seemingly to reject the military, but the political strategic will level should be there. Once the president passes an order down to the chief of staff, defense staff, then they are the people that formulate it, and then they'll take it to the operational level. Once there is a failure in the operational level, that is at the execution level, you get those people and they are done for. So if the Just massacre, the organization that I work through Nigeria has been actually giving out feelers that there were going to be attacks.
Yeah, since October.
Even in Kaduna too.
Yeah.
Are you getting it?
And I saw some of those alerts, specific, on point, dates and locations, all there.
And some of our reporters in Jos, they are having harassed by the military. Oya, Captain Wella, Oya no longer picks my call. When you tell her, look, something is going to happen, something is going to happen. Now, if the political strategic level, according to Stan Lambo, comes down and say, look, this is what has to be done. Like in America, when there is a failure in an execution, you query, and the officer may be redeployed, may be simply dismissed or asked to go. And if it is a failure at the political level, the political strategic level, whoever is responsible takes responsibility and resigns. So when you cannot also just sit down and be blaming that, okay, actually I understand what you're saying. There is always a political wing to a military wing. The political wing are the intelligentsia that decides this is what to do, this is where to go. But we know them. Dubai has given us their list. The Americans have them. The Americans, long ago when I was working for Desert Era, I remember the Africa Command in 20-something said, look, terrorists are moving from northeast, and they are going to coalesce
with terrorists in the Northwest, and then the presidency dismissed it. They said on top of the situation. You understand? Now, the political will, the strategic level is not there. They are not saying, okay, this is what we should, like the Americans now. The Americans have opened a university for drones, countering drones. They call it University of Counter-Attacking Drones. They call it to counter drones because drone has become the nemesis of every battlefield. Yeah. I mean, every soldier today. Now, we should have also thought about come up with a plan on how to deal with this, both the political wing of these terrorists, arrest them, because some of them even come to the station to threaten the army. Some of them come and say, look, you don't do this, we'll do, and some of them are there and they will say, we'll use you can have them arrested. The DSS should go after them. The Directorate of Military Intelligence should go after them. But when they come, they do nothing. And when people come and raise their voice and say, this is what is happening, under the other regime, the past regime, that is when you see the SSS will be going after them, or the PMI. But the real people that that as far as they come and they don't go after,
They seem to enjoy the same protection of state.
Yeah. And that is what Tom was saying. He said those people that were after me, I used to see them in Abuja. They have police escort. They do, as Tom has shouted long ago. So you understand? So it is not enough for Tinubu to just reject the military and put Musa there. You understand? He also needs to even tell Musa that, look, if I give you 6 months, if you don't perform, you are on your way out. And Musa has to pass these orders down. If not, and I tell you again, you can see, and I have been telling you this, after this year, Tinubu has, if he is unable to curb this, he and Rivadu are unable to tame this hydra-headed monster called terrorism, it will be used as a political weapon against him, and probably it will consume him.
Yeah. All right. Let's quickly look at the second item. And I'd love to stop on one, but the second item is also very important.
Well, it's your call.
Corruption and the anti-corruption fight, which President Tinubu did not use as a campaign slogan, just like the past administration. And of course, what has happened so far since he became the president. Last week we talked about it, but it's still very much trending in the polity with the suspension of Beta Edeh, the Minister for Humanitarian Affairs, and also the suspension of the coordinator of the National Social Scheme, National Social Investment Program, suspension for investigation, and now the invitation of the former Minister of Humanitarian Affairs in the person of Sa'adatu Umar Farouk to answer question. And of course, she was detained by the DSS yesterday from SNIPPETS that we are getting. Looking at all of these and the actions and stuff that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done in the past. Well, does it look like one that's fighting corruption?
Well, I tell you, when I used to say the worst of Tinubu.
But meanwhile, before you go on, let's say again if we can get audio from Dr. Peter Edeh. Dr. Peter Edeh, can you say something if we can hear you?
As you unmuted the mic.
Unmute your mic. The mic is muted now. Your microphone is muted. Okay, yeah. Say something now if we can hear you. It's muted again. Your microphone is muted again. Yeah. Okay, say something now. We just can't hear you. Oh no. So sorry about this, doctor. So sorry. I think we may just have to let you go. So sorry about it. You have patiently waited for us for over an hour, and unfortunately we can't link up with you. So Akatu coming to
I would have said back in the school where we were growing up, when a lecturer or a teacher comes, he comes with a kind of pomposity. I'm the man, I'm the boss, and we would call it IGG, initial gragra. But as we speak, it's not only Sadatu or Sadia that is even querying. The current minister now, again, another one, undisclosed, has just been queried, apart from Edeh.
Don't forget that
Emefiele is here. So we have a situation where Tinubu is trying to claim the audience table of the APC.
which he is also a beneficiary and also a member of APC. You see, we have every of this thing is a carryover from Buhari's administration down to the Tinubu's administration. And corruption is better we fight corruption now than corruption fights us. Now 555 million naira scam, better Edu. It's just even within the realm of allegation.
Yeah.
But the man said, young lady, and she's a very young woman, please go and sit home while we probe. And I bet you, if it is like that and she's found guilty, she'll go in for it. And I'm happy Sadia Umar Farouk, the former Minister for Humanitarian Affairs, the same position that Edeh is occupying. It's like that position is jinxed or cuffed. Anywhere they will tell you we transfer 5-point-something billion naira, and people will come and say, okay, even within their own caucus. Like I think I recall when some 3 or 4 years back, Sadia said they have transferred over some billions of naira, and Senator Ndume said, how did you generate the list? And where did you transfer? Who did you transfer the money to? And how, show us the proof. And she was unable to do that. Monumental corruption under the past administration.
Now, I don't want us to talk about administration so much.
Yeah.
Let's talk more about
actually the president now fighting corruption.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing. If he will actually do this, let's go after the corrupt people, even in his own regime, in his own administration, and the past administration. That is why I have to make reference. Are you getting it? Because if you say you should concentrate only on your own administration, the other guys will escape on board. There are many corruption allegations hanging against a lot of ministers in the past administration, and there will be a lot here. You can see just few months, less than a year, about 3 top ranking officers are enmeshed in corrupt act. But the good thing is that the president is taking action. Then, will his actions continue? Will it be sustained? Or is it that he's trying to move us to his side?
Yeah.
That will be the question. Is it that the president is doing this to buy us over because some of his policies are very harsh? Or is it that he is actually going to fight corruption? My gaze is still hanging in the balance.
I'll come to Danjuma Abbas Dangwa.
Now let me give the president some credits, and it borders
benefit of doubt,
and it borders around consistency.
All right.
In his inaugural speech, he highlighted the issue of corruption. When he addressed the nation about the subsidy hardship and all during the October 1st or independence address, he also addressed Nigerians and told Nigerians that corruption investigations are ongoing on institutions, on some funds, how they were expended and all, even on government-owned enterprises.
Yeah.
You know, he came back and constituted the board fully of the NNPC. But coming down to the new approach, there is no statement about any petition written against whether Sadia or better
do the allegations are touch.
What I'm saying is that there is no statement. There is no known statement about the availability of any petition. Okay. Ordinarily, in the time past, you will hear that EFCC requires a petition to be tendered before it gets into action and all. But right now, we're seeing a situation where the institution seems to be taking initiative and working. And picking on somebody who is a member of the Federal Executive Council. For me, I say it's still a media trial until the investigations are concluded.
Yeah.
0809 799 1989 is the number.
From this transfer.
All right, let's take some calls now. The phone lines have been buzzing. 0809 799 1989 is the number to dial to be part of the program. We have our first caller on the program this evening. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Ground Zero. What's your name and where are you calling us from? Good evening. All right, Mr. Akure, you are welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem.
We wish you well. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Akure, for standing by. We have another caller. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Ground Zero. All right, I wish you for Barcelona, you are welcome. We should be saying.
The president was never the political will to deal with terrorism in Nigeria. We should not think of 2027. We should put it on down. Deal with this terrorism cause. Then we either the culture in Nigeria. Country not far because terrorism. So people put the focus now, deal with that decisively without fear of favor. And also, on the corruption side, we must any side of corruption. And the government also was accused of the federal level. We are now on that situation. Government was out there describing the environment. So that we will know that we take back the record. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Abu Smith, for stopping by. And the program is Ground Zero. Let's take this call. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Ground Zero. What's your name and where are you calling us from? So we just missed that. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Ground Zero. Good evening, you're welcome. What's your name and where are you calling us from? All right, Shaban.
We should pray for our president. People began to acquire president steps. President did not come with a mindset of fighting corruption. But the government also saying that we should approach Bishop corruption of this country. We should pray for him. I'm trying to pray for Tinubu. Don't concentrate. When he's taking out his sons from corruption, I can see a president that's going to rescue Nigeria. The only thing I have to do again is this should show the preaching. It should put that mental step up. Let the decree of the step up. After the war, you go to Abbas. It's called the Nigeria.
Okay.
You know what people call no like is the best person I see. Yes, also doesn't know. Because Nigeria will have done it, but it's not done. The people can be praying for. I'm going to kill you, Nigeria is going to transform. Nigeria is going to be secure. We can see a very good security out of his plans. That is going to be time. Look at the minister of justice 4 months ago. We have not just one one day. Look at the act. That was their ministry. It is a court ministry. So long as they look here that is posting the women that are minister trade what they are doing. So the time will be very good. People have to put up in chairs. In positions. The one person to teach you what you but the one thing also about him is going to fulfill the promises. If you put something to him, then if the promise is not to his death, it is affecting you. The one person to look up to the authority to greatness, which is not fair.
Thank you so very much. Comrade, can you hear us?
Hello, Mr. Ehis and the data video.
All right. Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
And then the people commented, no, the two will think that that is our worker by the grace of God.
All right, come again. Very quickly, let's have your take. All right.
The way we look at it, the way the thing is like, I don't know, your data is perfectly correct. We need to consult after that to really come and assist us. Hello?
Yes, go on.
And so, we need to consider people really to come and assist us. We see what it is that we are doing is and carry about people.
Yeah.
One day, see what happened at Abuja Road. See what happened at see what happened at Church. I'm giving a Canadian. And the government to focus more to be sincere in handling business. And as I always say in this program, if you look at we in this country, because I think we're also because nearly almost all the industry in Nigeria, they are almost closed. Nothing is working for us. You go to Canada and see that. You will discover that all the areas there become pushy. People are taken from the ground, come and measure the heat. Even after it's 21 years now, some days that have not been paid. And we'll have about 2,200 workers since 2009, so nobody pay oil. With the recorded one guy, instead of 555, half the network has died.
So far.
If the government is here to end this situation, let them think of how to get our economy back to life.
All right.
Then this of insecurity will come to a conclusive end.
All right.
It is thank you for this program, and the Almighty God bless you and bless all the great at the studio here. Thanks, sir.
Thank you so very much. We'll take our last caller and we'll wrap it up. Oh, hello, good evening and welcome. Good evening and welcome to the program. What's your name and where are you calling us from? Yes, your voice is not quite clear. Can you speak up a little bit? We are struggling to hear you. I guess we have to let him go as we come back to the studio now to give our parting shot. I'll start from Michael the Akatu. A minute if you can give us your parting shot.
Especially this corruption and this Nigerian humanitarian.
Yes.
The money that has been expended, I was doing the calculation, but time will not permit me. If you invest that money in the textile industry, like I was trying to, like the textile man was advocating, it will resuscitate the textile industry, bring in new equipment. So I am an advocate of scrapping that ministry or using the money to resuscitate moribund industry. And in the security angle, we have outlined it. The president needs to be fair. Those people that, especially the political wing of the terrorists, needs to be hounded. Israel is killing Hamas leaders, Hezbollah leaders, whom they are seen to be threat to us. These are these people that are responsible for insecurity. Over 200 people dead in Jos, Plateau, in Sokoto, in Benue. You know, take them out and kill their leaders and then on them. If Bola Tinubu does not do that, foreign investors will not come. He will not get 2027 ticket. That's my take. If it doesn't.
Danjuma, Abbas, Dangwa, what will be your parting shot?
Well, my parting shot would be that yes, we have seen President Bola Tinubu demonstrate the will to strengthen institutions. We also need to see him design and deploy programs that secure Nigeria's territorial space. The excuses have been things that we thought we've left after 2023, May 29th. So we've seen him appoint someone who is actually off from the usual, outside the usual grid for a long time, to be appointed into such a position as National Security Advisor. And ordinarily, the expectations are that the economic angle, the political angle from which these guys are hitting Nigeria this big and badly would be issues that these institutions are actually tackling head on. And so we expect to see that kind of leadership again in place.
Okay.
The DSS had assured in the open publication that was reported some time ago that they are going to be producing what they eat. right? And if the DSS is at the point of boasting about such a capacity, I think that the capabilities are not lacking. I just believe that the political will that is required, to push this thing to the latter is just what is lacking. What is the name of that kingpin that was denying Nigerians the peace of enjoying vehicles in this space from Niger? Tijani.
Obasanjo's time.
Yes,
Tijani, yeah.
Tijani was doing his business and he was thinking he was in a safe haven in Niger Republic.
Was it Niger or Benin?
He was apprehended in Benin.
Okay, yes.
He was Nigerian.
Yes, operated in Benin Republic.
Yes, and he demanded for him, got him down, dropped the kingpin down to the point that he ended that situation. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the chairman of the ECOWAS. And ECOWAS today, all of the economic states of West Africa are suffering one form of insurgency or the other. One form of insecurity or the other that is already crippling the state and putting democracy at risk. Nigeria should not be part of that kind of story. His leadership should be able to put that necessary force and foot on the ground to cooperate and root out terrorism, not just in Nigeria, but in our neighboring nations, so that we're all safe off grid.
And that is the prayer of everybody who wants a safe country, a safe state, a safe neighborhood, and of course a safe West Africa and the world. All right, that's about the size of the program today. I sincerely want to appreciate everybody, and once again I still want to apologize to Dr. Peter Edeh. He's still trying to link up to us, but we just cannot get audio. Sorry about that. We'll work on the next edition of the program. I appreciate the management and staff of Invicta FM, not forgetting NIPPETS that is uplinking us to Invicta FM, and of course to Wisdom Agulana that's coordinating over there in Invicta FM. And here at the Procyon Media Center, I will appreciate my guests, first of all, Odeh, Akatu, and Danjuma, Abbas, Dangwa. And not forgetting the production team, starting from Humphrey Iluore, Samuel Id Cry, Ehis Agbon, the new one just joining us now, Paul Yakob, and not forgetting Ehis Agbon. She's the one that controls the VCR today, uplinking our videos to our online portal and social media handles. And of course, I wouldn't forget Sarah Agbon, the head of production team, right here at Procyon Radio and Television. Check us out at ProcyonRTV on all social media handles. Like, follow, and subscribe to our channel. I am Ehis Agbon. We'll be on again on Friday for another edition of the program, Ground Zero, right here. And like always would say, keep shining like the star that you are.
The money that I collected is honorable that brought
Destiny of Nigeria. Me, I want all of now look into this in Nigeria. When you want to take steps every day to make this country a better place.
New education is telling them it's time to change.
All colors, shades, angles, and perspectives can be overwhelming in our present world of information overload. This is introducing Ground Zero. Ground Zero is a current affairs discussion phone-in program covering topical issues in the polity. The program is a platform for an in-depth analysis of trending issues by professionals, authorities in various fields, analysts, and key actors in the polity. Ground Zero gives the listener an opportunity to contribute to the discussion via phone call, SMS, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. From the conservatively serious to the ridiculously funny, Ground Zero accommodates them all. Professionals, urban contemporary businessmen and women, policymakers, public service workers, students, artisans, traders, and the in-between.
Ground Zero comes up from 5 to 6 p.m. every Tuesday and Friday on Invicta FM and 5 to 6 p.m. every weekday on Procyon Radio and Television. Ground Zero is a production of the Procyon Media. Tune in.
When news breaks,